Alright guys, so last season we just came off a long and grueling domination period in Formula 1. I'm sure I don't need to explain a whole lot, but just in case, for those who do not know, Mercedes won the Constructors' Championship for 8 consecutive years. That's the whole era. And out of the 8 seasons of the era, only one non-Mercedes driver won the Drivers' Championship, and that of course was Max Verstappen last year. And that was also extremely close and controversial. Ferrari couldn't even beat them when they had an illegal power unit in 2019, and it took the FIA changing regulations last season to nerf Mercedes and even out the front of the field. This wasn't the first time this has happened either. In 2005, regulations were changed to stop Ferrari's domination of the sport that was ongoing at the time, and again it worked. Fernando Alonso and Renault had the chance to win their 2 championships together because of these regulation changes, and the same goes for Red Bull and Verstappen last season. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Verstappen and Alonso. In fact, in my opinion, Fernando Alonso is the greatest all-round Formula 1 driver there ever was, and Verstappen also has the potential to be up there with the greats, but that's just how quick these dominating teams were. It took the full force of the FIA to slow them down. Now, after seeing the Belgian Grand Prix weekend we just had and just how dominant Red Bull have become coming out of this summer break, it leaves absolutely no hope for any other team to get anywhere near them in the standings this season. And this absolute demolition of other teams by Red Bull is something we have seen in the past, like I said, with other teams and of course with Red Bull when Sebastian Vettel won 4 consecutive World Drivers' Championships and alongside Mark Webber 4 consecutive Constructors' Championships. These domination periods for Ferrari, Mercedes and Red Bull may have set some incredible records that we just love to see on paper, such as Schumacher and Hamilton's 7 championships and Vettel's 9 race wins in a row, but while these records were being set, one thing was common in Formula 1 at these times. It was boring. And I'm not talking about the racing as a whole, but the fact that you knew from halfway into the season who would win the Drivers' or Constructors' Championship. And that takes away the whole appeal of the championship. Also, there would be very little variety in terms of race wins and podiums. Always having the same 3 drivers ending the race on the podium week in and week out becomes, to put it quite frankly, mind-numbingly boring. So why exactly am I talking about all of this? Well, because if you've been watching Formula 1 lately, then you can see the clear parallels between the domination periods I've just mentioned and what's going on right now with Red Bull and Max Verstappen. They seem to not only have nailed the 2022 season regulations, but also they only look like they're getting faster. Even after some small changes to floor stiffness rules that expected to see Mercedes catch up to Ferrari and Red Bull, the gap between the team's car performance has only gotten bigger. And this to me all looks very close to the start of previous domination eras, and I fear that that is exactly what we might see in these upcoming years. And here's why. When you look back to say 2014, the turbo hybrid era had just started and Mercedes were instantly miles ahead of the rest of the competition. The team had laid all groundwork out and built up over a period of years, and when time came to execute, they over-delivered. Now that is what's going on at Red Bull at the moment. It's not just that their car is fast and that's it, no. They understand how to adapt these 2022 regulations best because of their engineers and aerodynamicists back at the factory. Something Ferrari managed well also, but have struggled to build on. Hence the now seemingly giant performance gap between the two. So this gives Red Bull a sort of head start or more leeway going into the next seasons, while other top teams are stuck on trying to simply catch up. This not only takes time but also a lot of resources, which of course cost a lot of money. And as we all know, the major budget cap that has been introduced this year doesn't leave teams with a whole lot of spending power. So sadly, this all might just add up to Red Bull purely obliterating the competition for the next while. And on top of all this, you cannot forget about the drivers. They're just as important as the car is. First we have Sergio Perez, who has adapted to the car quite well this season. His qualifying pace definitely can be better, but I think he more than makes up for it in race pace. He's very obviously Red Bull's second driver, even though after winning Monaco, people were starting to believe Perez could fight for the championship this season. Although hopes for this quickly died down after his teammate Max Verstappen got a better hold onto the car. Max is Red Bull's number 1 driver, and there really are no questions as to why. He won last year's championship against Lewis Hamilton, and this year he won 9 out of the 14 races hosted so far this season. Where in Hungary he won after starting in 10th, and in Belgium he won from 14th on the grid, and on both occasions with time to spare. In fact, in Hungary he even made a mistake and spun the car. He lost the lead to Leclerc briefly, but then took it right back as quickly as he lost the position. There really is no stopping Max this season. He's fast like he's always been, he makes little to no mistakes, and when he does, he has a car under him paired with his insane driving ability that can quickly make up for them. Also, Max seems to have matured a lot this season. He is ridiculously calm before races, and fellow driver Alex Albon even pointed out that Max is so relaxed he opens FIFA packs before qualifying. Sure, you can definitely put some of it down to Ferrari's incompetence this season, which leaves him with a lack of competition, but even when at the start of the season he was on the back foot because of 2 DNFs and Ferrari actually being good at what they were doing, he was still extremely calm about it all. This all paired together, the team, the drivers and the car, leads me to believe that there are only 2 things that can stop Red Bull, and I think one is way likelier than the other. The first is if any team catches up to Red Bull. Yes, I have said that this will likely be quite a hike for any team who attempt to do this, but nevertheless it could still happen, although they are heavily on the back foot. Honestly, to me, Ferrari are out of the equation. I'm not even going to get into too much detail as to why, but I did recently make a video on whether or not Charles Leclerc could win the championship, and it's all pretty much explained there. So yeah, you can check that out if you like. But if you have been watching this season, anyone with eyes can see that Ferrari need an overhaul, and without it, their championship hopes are down the drain. But if there is any team you can bet on right now, it's of course going to be Mercedes. They've proven in the past how well they can make their cars, and they also have the drivers at hand. Lewis Hamilton, who is essentially still in his prime, and George Russell, who, if you've seen his results this season, doesn't need any introduction. But if I really had to bet on any other team to catch up right now, it would be Alpine. I know it's a stretch with their driver situation currently and all, but I think if they play their cards right, they've already got a decent car to work with, they've got the infrastructure and the team. If they re-sign Ricciardo for next season, which I think could be a great move, I believe they could bring the fight to the front if they tried hard enough. Like I said, yes, it's a bit of a stretch, but that's just my opinion. Now, what I think is more likely to happen is what's happened every time a team has dominated these last few years: the intervention of the FIA. New regulations, rules, restrictions, whatever they see fit to even out the playing field. In fact, that's what F1 have said the spirit of these new regulations are: to promote closer racing. And of course that works with the elimination of a lot of the dirty air, but in terms of teams' performance, the gap is as large as it's always been. And that is why I think the FIA could very well intervene. But to sum this whole video up and answer the question, will Red Bull dominate this new F1 era? I think so. Without the intervention of the FIA, I see a very slim chance of any team fully catching up to Red Bull. I mean, there's a ton of ground to make up, and like I said, with this new budget cap, I think it will be harder than ever to do so. But that's what I think, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. It also helps a lot with the algorithm if you do so. Also, please like and more importantly, subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more F1 content like this. And it would really help with the growth of this channel too. I'm trying to upload on a more regular basis now, and a like and subscription would go a long way in helping. But on that note, guys, I hope you all have a blessed night, and I hope to see you all next time.